Hello, welcome back to the land of Kakiak. My name is Laurel. Today I wanted to talk to you about how to give a little bit of life to your homeschool. So I have 3 boys, ages currently 12, 7, and 5. And especially when you're dealing with, a spread in ages, I just find that we're very homebound, because people are doing at different stages and doing different things. So how am I going to bring some life to my homeschool at home? If you find yourself like me and you're more of a staying at home, most of the time kind of person, let me share some of my best strategies for adding a little bit of life to that homeschool. Okay, I'm not going to say this is a 100% comprehensive list or anything. These are just the things that seem to be serving our family the best right now. So first off, I would say let go of your mom guilt if you can. Do your best. I know I struggle with it, but I wouldn't worry about making every single subject like super dynamic, and every subject has a hands-on component, and you can just do too much of a good thing is too much, so it'll end up killing your joy and being stressful. So let me start with my youngest and focus on him today and what I do for my 5-year-old. We are transitioning this summer between preschool and kindergarten. And since we're year-round homeschoolers, we are where we are with him. And then maybe I'll try to make videos focusing on the other 2 and specifically what's bringing more life to their exact homeschool, okay? There's going to be a lot of overlap because we're all in here together, right? Okay, so first, I try, not every subject has to blow you out of the water or anything, right? But I'm just trying to focus on like 1 or 2 for the kids that I put a little bit more effort in, a little more intentionality to make it come alive for them a little bit more. I think we know that like novelty, obviously you know what novelty means, but trying new things is, I think like when people experience something new, it's like that feeling of novelty is akin to pleasure. It's like a pleasurable experience. That's why people like trying new restaurants, trying new foods, seeing new places. Like that's a pleasurable experience for humans. And I think you can just translate that into your homeschool. Do something you don't always do. Now you can do that in a routine way, so it's easy for you to implement, but that you're still getting that novelty. And I'll show you how I'm doing that with my 5-year-old. Let's start with the routine. So for him, I've talked about my copybooks before, but this is basically the base of his curriculum. This keeps us on track and keeps a record of what we're doing. And I think it'll be easier maybe if I walk you through this. It'll make more sense. Okay, so every day, just kind of flip to a random day. Okay, every day we start, P.S. Homeschool update. I did switch from Alphaphonics back. I switched back to 100 Easy Lessons, which I used with my last son. We start each day, and I just open it up, and I bookmark where we are, and we do our reading lesson. This is nothing fancy, right? I just get it out of the way in the morning. We do this first. We do our reading lesson. And you're just doing that orally back and forth, and then I have him come over to his copybook, and I just use like a highlighter or a colored pencil, and I work with him, and I have him talk about sounds, identify which one says s, which one says and have him do that kind of stuff. And then we just follow the instructions that are in here for what letters to write, or what sounds to write is how they say it. So we review the sounds that we went over in the lesson, all of them, but then they usually target only 2 for writing. And so part of kind of how I actually give a little life to this is with the handwriting part. I let him pick which highlighter he wants me to use or which colored pencil. Anyway, so this doesn't take very long at all. I mean, the whole thing could take only 15 minutes from, book lesson to the copy work part. And then I give him a play break. Well, we call it a play break, or, it's a brain break. I just recently heard or read something. I think it was, I listened to this podcast. I forget this doctor's name, but he's all into like, neurology and stuff like that. But they see when you work on something for a while, and then if you just have people stop and like literally do nothing, that their brains actually kind of like replay what they just learned, and that there's greater retention of that information. So, and you can have them go back to doing it. So I like to do that. I like to have them do something and then let them take a break. And I've got puzzles in here, books he can look at, Legos. So you can just play for a little bit, usually while I work with, one of his brothers or check on them or do whatever. And then, we come back to him. And the next one is math. We keep it really simple to add on some hands-on stuff. He could write stuff in here. At this point, we were just counting. I was just trying to get him to count to 100. And then once he could do that, so I can do a lot for math with just these pieces. So we started with race to 50. So if you want to play that game, you each pick a color. I think I may do one where we were writing on it. Here's one where we were writing on it. Okay. So we would just take our pieces, and he loves playing this game. And he'll either pick, red or blue, and we start right here. And then we roll to see who goes first, And then we just roll, and we usually will get like a red and blue pencil, so you can see. So we'd start with 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then we'd trace that in red, 4. Then, of course, you take turns, and the goal is to see who can get to 100 first. But along the way, we have been practicing, since I know we're going to do Right Start Math, since we're headed that way now. I know that from working with, his older brother, that they want them to learn the regular, it's like 17 is the regular name for this number, but the math name is 10, 7, or 1, 10, and 7, right? This is 2, 10, 9. This is 6, 10, 9. This is 7, 10, 7. You see what I mean? So we've been saying, say the math name and the regular name, and he's been doing that. And that's really helped him. You can see here that I was trying to explain to him that the 5 here stands for 5 tens. So you can see I was like writing it out here for him. I was explaining it this day. And he actually picked it up pretty quickly. Like I noticed within the next 2 days, the next 2 games, he had that down now. Like he has it. So that's cool. So just adding just this has brought so much life to math for him right now. And of course, like we've used manipulatives a lot just for counting, we were counting things and adding and subtracting. We just put them in his little hands, or we will use, this to make groups of things and combine them or put them up here and then take them away and how many you're left with. So I just use these pieces a lot in math, and this is, I don't know how much more sustainable and simple it gets, but we just grab these every time. He knows what he needs for math, and this is part of his math supplies. He just gets it and we just go. And then, so that's something else to talk about, like when you're wanting to give life to your homeschool, make it come alive a little bit more activity for your kids, not just everything, just worksheet. But it can't be so complicated or expensive or time intensive on mom that it's just not sustainable, and you know what I mean? So you don't want to overcomplicate your life. Keep an eye out for that. I'll just kind of show you what we're doing for him. Like this is simple, right? I have this, and I have sets of flashcards. So right now we're still on the +1, -1 flashcards. And I started out with just the pluses, but now I've kind of mixed them up. But what I do is I have him, and these come with the copybooks, but I print these on cardstock, and I give him the answer cards, right? And then I make a pile of the problem cards, and then he has these, right, the answer cards, and he puts them in order. So this right? We flip over. These, he sequences properly. 0, 9, like you get the idea, right? He puts all the answers all laid out. We go like this. We flip it over, we say, what is 7 minus 1? So he can start by putting his piece over here, like on the 7. And then we say minus 1. I think I started out by doing that, like doing it like on here. I think I actually had to extend this out to 0, 11, and 12, right? And then he would write, so we'd say you'd start with on 7, and then we'd do something like this. So when you add, you move to the right. When you subtract, you move to the left, okay? So then he would, 7 minus 1, he knows to go back. That's minus 1. 1. What'd you land on? 6. Awesome. Then we can check that, like we'll get more of these. Sorry, I'm trying to work in a smaller space. This would usually be a little bit more spread out. Okay, so we'd say, well, if we're doing a subtraction problem, we would put that there, and we start with our 7. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, okay? 7. And we're gonna subtract 1, right? And you can't, I usually have them pull it down here, and we say, so now you have, so how many did you end up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that the same as what you landed on your number line? Yes. So then he had to get your answer. So here's his 6 answer, and he lines it, he goes like that. He makes the equation, 7 minus 1 equals 6. So we just do that enough times for, and then we can always check back. We do this too, right? We can do 6 plus 1 equals 7, right? Anyways, but then I would have him, if that's correct, write 7 minus 1 equals 6, and he writes that down. All right, and then we do the next one. But we only do that for 4, we only do 4 problems. Just, you know, and then we just make sure we mix it up next time. And sometimes I have all addition, sometimes it's all subtraction, sometimes I mix the addition and subtraction. So it really I just kind of mix it up on him, so he has to pay attention to the symbol and not just assume that he knows. It's just the same thing. It teaches him to be careful and look. Okay, so that is something really simple. You can use, most people have dice, have something, even you could use pennies, you know, something as a manipulative to use around the house. And it's just very routine. And now that he can count to 100, and he can, we play race to 100, you know, to keep going over it. It's kind of just like review to keep it in his mind. Sometimes I just will test him and I'll just call out a random number like 48 or 4108 and just have him find it and like circle it or something, just to see how good he is at finding it on there and understanding, you know, the groups of 10 and stuff like that. And then we go down and go 10, 20, 30. We count by tens a lot. He can do that. So once he like really masters these and we don't have to work it out anymore, and I can just say, hey, what's 7 minus 1? And if you can just say 6, then I'll know I can move on to the +2, -2 envelope. I have these up to +10, -10. All right, so that'll take us a good amount of time. Okay, the other thing that we do lately, because we use this book, which again, this would be part of, I think another way to add some life to your homeschool is just adding beauty or charm, right? And these are just the cutest, most charming little math books for kids, so I just love it. He loves these. It has, you know, colored pictures and the math stories in them. He loves the story part. So it's not just like worksheet, 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 worksheet. Like he gets a story. And so it's making it come to life, you know. So lately it started talking about money. It just started talking about these new characters, Betty and Bobby, and they want to go to the circus, and so they have to get their money situation figured out to go. And so we were doing this. So I actually did get real money out for him just to look at real coins. So for like this day, yeah, we played Race to 100. Oh, and we made numbers with our number rods, which we already have. But then we looked in the book, and so I brought real money out, and we talked about, this is a penny, this is a nickel, this is a dime. And I was just trying to get him to just know what the coins were, not necessarily how much they're worth. So we talked about that. And then I had him trace a penny, trace a nickel, trace a dime, and color it in. So just kind of trying to become familiar. And then the story continued. Yes, this is yesterday. We did this story, da-da-da-da. Then it came to which will buy more. So now this is going to be talking more about how much they're worth. So I had these were also printables that came, like just some kind of representative money with the copybooks. And so we basically just replicated what was here. I had him, I worked with him, we cut these out, glued them on, and he likes that. Like he likes gluing things on, or he likes anything to do with glue and tape. So that's a really easy way to make anything hands-on for him, is to involve some kind of cutting something out, gluing it, and taping it. Like, he will like it. That will actually get him interested in it. And then we talked about the alligator mouth, So we just talked about that again. And then I showed him how to do one. So this one, they're each worth 1 cent. So this is 5 cents, and this is 6 cents. This one already has the 10 on it. This one has the 5 on it. So he knows, obviously, 10 is bigger than 5. This one's 5 cents, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. This was only 4 cents. So this one was more, right? Same with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? But this one's worth 10. All by itself. So this one's more cents, not more coins, more cents. So we were going over it. We'll see if he can do the next activity. Sometimes we move on to the next thing and it's a little challenging for him. So I just back up and just do more of of what came before. So actually this morning I couldn't sleep. So I came down here and I added these printables onto copybook, I think number 5. But so it's looks like real money, to cut out to use. And I got some dollars, and then I got some smaller dollars so that we could do more activities. But I personally like to glue things or tape things into the book. So I like to use the manipulatives, but then be able to keep it so that it gives me a record of what we've done. Just so kids always like things to be a little bit more realistic, but I liked having these ones in there that had just very plainly letting you know the amount that they're worth. And then it's still showing you the color and size. So he will enjoy cutting these out and gluing them in. Okay, so after this, it's time for a brain break. And so I'll play for a little while. And then a lot of times, this is when I will do the leading little ones to God with him, which is just so easy. And see, I'm not making Bible anything elaborate. I love how simple, it's just simple. I just read him the thing. My favorite thing about this, there's some nice pictures and stuff in it, but is that they all have a little prayer at the end that's specific to what we were teaching about in the devotional section. And so we just say the prayer, and I have him just repeat after me. It's the cutest little thing to hear his little voice saying these prayers. So yeah, I like that. It's very short, and he can recite it, and then he's but he's being active. He's not just passively only listening, and it has little questions you can ask them too. And a lot of times my 7-year-old, even though we do a different Bible thing together, he'll join us for this because it's just very quick and he enjoys it too. Then we come to this. So then about that time, we probably are it's time to go play outside and have lunch and stuff like that. And then usually when he comes back in to kind of get him settled back down, we do the read me a story. So right now I'm going through this book, Fairy Tales and Fables. I've showed it before. Right in the middle, yesterday, Thumbelina was kind of a longer one, so we didn't read the whole thing. Because their attention spans are only so long. So we read this much, Thumbelina, right? And then I always just write down what story I read to him, and then I ask him to tell me what happened in the story. And then, so he tells me whatever, we might talk about something. And then I say, okay, draw me a picture of something from the story. And so he drew me, he liked that part where she was in her little bed on the lily pad and the frog, you know, or the toad had her there. So he drew that. And then, look at this frog, is hilarious. And then we do our nature kind of study thing. So this is our science, our kindergarten science. And this is the subject I'm putting the most, I'm putting the most effort into making this come to life for him right now. It just was the easiest thing. We're using this as the base. I've talked about the activities that I planned to go along with it. And I just went shopping, so I can just print these. I print these out and I just stuck them in the book to go with what readings. And there's not one for like every single page or anything. Just I think I had like 30 or so. Most of them require just activities that require things just around the house. Like this one, literally, I just cut out because I like to put it in here so I keep it as a record of what we were doing. And I write what pages it came from the book. This one I just cut out my printable part, and then we just went outside and we just collected. We tried to find things of different colors, and I just had him tape them in, and then he used our magnifying glass to look closer at things. He really was excited about this feather. It's a little chicken feather that was in the yard when the girls dropped it. But you could look at the clover up close and the pecan tree stuff, and I don't know what that was, but it was bright red yesterday, but it's already changed color. But yeah, now I just have a record of stuff. So the activities, I picked these up at all the stuff I needed at Walmart. So this is the kind of stuff that I picked up that I didn't already have around the house. So you can kind of see how easy and like low cost I am. Okay, so I just got some lunch bags, pom-poms, pipe cleaners. Oh yeah, I saved some toilet paper rolls for one of them. Barbasol shaving cream. I got 2 of those. Beads, wiggly eyes, paper plates, masking tape. I think I got some like craft glue too, but I already took it out somewhere. And that's it. That's all I had to buy. And I just keep it in the schoolroom. And when it's time to do, there's a few more things on the list, but most of them it's like flour. There was like one that called for heavy cream, but I'm not going to buy that till I'm ready to do that one. But yeah, I just go rummage around in my little craft bag and just get what we need that day. And I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to plan anything. I just have what I need. And a lot of this stuff, my 7-year-old too joins us for it. He still likes to do this kind of thing too. Some of the other things that I have in here, just so you can kind of see how many I've done and how easy it's been for me. Okay. So yeah, like we had him try to cut out a snowflake. That was one of our activities. Tape it in. Done. Yeah, we were talking about hibernation, and so we did build a little cave. Like he was a bear, with just like blankets in the schoolroom and like chairs. Had him pretend like, if you were an animal that was hibernating, you'd want to make a little warm bed, a little, shelter, and hibernate. And I just found this on the internet and printed it off so he could color it, and we cut it out and stuck it in. We learned about the wind, and so yeah, you can just do this. You can just read something, right? I think we watched a little video on YouTube about wind, and I think tornadoes came up, and so he drew this. It's himself flying a kite and a tornado and the storm clouds and stuff. So you can always just say, just draw me something that you learned. Okay, so this day we talked about rain and rainbows. So this is one of my printables, and so we had him just color it, and then we cut it out and glued it in how he wanted it. Talked about the year, and the calendar, and so I talked about what is a year, and we talked about the solar year. So we made this. This is again from the printables, and we just talked about what a year is. It's one trip around the sun. And he thought that was fun. And we would stop on his birthday. We'd stop on today's date. We'd find my birthday. We'd find Christmas. This day, this is one of our activities. We read these pages. I was talking about the sun. So we did this sun painting project with like washi tape and stuff, which he really liked. This was really fun for him. He loves anything with paint. Oh, birdhouse and pop-up bird egg craft. We were still talking about, I don't know what page, I didn't write down what pages we read, I think. But so, this is from my printables. So we made a bird nest, and I actually ended up, because I didn't have any brown construction paper, and I was like, I'm not going to go buy construction paper just to get like one brown piece. So I just used more of my little sandwich bags, that you saw, my brown paper bags to make the nest with. And then we made these pop-up eggs, and there's two because I think Will made one with us too. So it's the American Robin in there. And we just put them, in their nest. And that's just been sitting on the shelf, the kids like it. And also my cat likes it. The cat likes to attack it. So I don't know, we've been having so much fun just doing this kind of stuff. Oh, we made Coldplay Snow again, so I just cut it out, or he cut it out, and I glued it in for him, I think. We watched videos on the life cycles of a frog, and we read the pages on it, and then we just had him print it out, and we color it, and we talked about it. This day we were talking about lightning and thunderstorms in the book, and I think we watched a little video on it, but we tried to do some chalk art with it, and then I just had him color. This was on the printable. I had him color it, and I cut it out and stuck it on here for him too. Yeah, this day we did leaf rubbings. Right, we just went outside in the backyard, and this is like most of this stuff is all things we never had to leave the house to do. We did an activity about moon craters. So we read from our book, then we did the activity, and then this was on the activity page. I think I have video of it. I'll try to put video in so you can kind of see what the activity was. But yeah, again, my 7-year-old did that with us too. And then I had him draw me a full moon, a crescent moon, and no moon. And these were shown in our Berenstain Bear book. So he just kind of copied it, and then he drew me a space rock. Spider's web, again. I have a video of this. I think I put it on Instagram too. And we just used masking tape, white masking tape. I had so much fun making this spider web that he's made like 3 more since then, like on his own around the house. Oh, the swamp sensory tub. We talked about swamp animals, so I just made a list of them as we were talking about them. We colored this in together and put it in. Yeah, I definitely helped with the coloring. The next day he was still playing. He wanted to play. He still had the swamp sensory tub. He had it out for like 2 days, and then this is from the printables. I reprinted the animals. He cut them out sort of, and then I kind of cleaned it up, and then he had him put them in here. But this day we had to clean up all the swamp sensory tub stuff. But I'll try to put a video in at the end of that. Oh yeah, we just did this the other day too. So what I fall back on a lot of time, he loves painting. Since I know he loves to paint, I fall back on painting a lot if there's not really an activity to go with something. So when we were reading the Berenstain Bears Big Book of Science, there was a page that there was a volcano on it, and he just kept being like, since he knows we try to do science activities, he's like, oh, can we make a volcano? Can we make a volcano? Well, I had not planned for that. But what I did have was this little book, What is a Volcano? Because I have some of those Just Ask books. So I read this to him, and then I opened it up to that page, and I'd let him just paint. I was like, use this as inspiration. And William did this too. So at the Dollar Tree, they had these really nice, these were only $5 for all these paint palettes, so I've got like 4 of them. That is my backup plan. So if I don't have something that I planned for in my activities, but he shows an interest in it, I will just see if I have like a book on it or a resource on it to look at, and we will just fall back on painting. So, and then I had cut it out and I had to put it in. But you can see he did a good job. Like, he got the idea. Yeah, then we're just back to yesterday's was our nature observation activity. Okay, so that's what we've done so far. But just doing those activities, so you can have like your planned activities, but then, yeah, if your kid shows interest, have some fallback thing that you can do. So for us, like I said, he loves painting. He gets a lot of joy from taking this out. And so if I don't have an activity planned, I will just let him paint whatever we were talking about. Another thing we can do is anything with Play-Doh. Like, I always have extra Play-Doh, because we could say, like, let's make a volcano out of Play-Doh, or let's make an earth out of Play-Doh. And it's cheap and, reusable. And yeah, so those are like my 2 fallback activities, are like Play-Doh and painting, right? You can turn almost anything into an art activity. It doesn't really matter. Like, you could be reading history, and you could have the kids, look at a book and draw from that, something that they were interested in. Like, here, whatever you're interested in, find a picture of it and draw it, or paint it, or try to make, give them some tin foil and have them try to make a helmet or something. Just have them try to make a boat out of tin foil or something, and see if they can, a Viking boat, and see if they can get it to float in the sink. Just something cheap around the house, and just let them just try. Another thing is that I am big on is beauty and like charm. Like, anything that's like got good illustrations in it is going to draw them in more. So to recap, to give life to your homeschool, I'll see if there's anything I've missed. Okay, there is, don't worry about making every subject dynamic. Just focus on 1 or 2 to put any extra thought into. I would say plan ahead. Like, do your thinking and planning at one time. Don't try, I wouldn't try to be winging it and coming up with something super creative every day, because you'll just drain yourself. Pick something, or do your planning, or buy something ahead of time that's going to give you a list of what you need, and you can just prep it out. And then just, have it there and execute when the time comes up. Add on some hands-on activities. You can do things, just like, cutting out the paper money and gluing it in, and that, I consider that a hands-on activity, or playing a little math game with dice, and I consider that gives life to your homeschool. They're not just passively hearing about it, reading about it. They're like engaging in something. Watch short videos. I do like to use YouTube. I like to find a short video. It's just to reinforce, and they always want to watch something, always. So if you're talking, like we said, we're talking about the wind. I love that. Is it SciShow Kids? They're had a ton of good videos. I don't know about their newer ones, but their older ones are solid. Don't make it go too long for them, depending on their age. You can act things out. We like to try things. So if there's ever especially easy to do things in the kitchen. So if you have a story where they made cookies or something, like, we'll read that story and then we'll make the cookies. There's these really great books, the Cranberry Port books, and they all have a recipe, something you can bake at the end. And they're good recipes too. Okay, well, I'm sure there's like a million other things you could do. Those are just the ones that I am using right now that we are enjoying the most. If you have any helpful suggestions, things that are sustainable with your time, energy, and money, leave them in the comments down below so that we can all benefit from your experience. All right, I'll talk to you later.